Paris Hilton has an interview with CBS basically letting us know that all of that dumb blonde act that she was known for is really an act. She's totally opposite of what she has portrayed herself to be. She has portrayed herself that way, which ended up working for her as basically a smokescreen to hide the trauma. Stay with us, and we're going to talk about it.
The top dog, I know these niggas all want my position, cause I'm putting up numbers like a statistician. The king back like LeBron when he returned to Cleveland. Time to spread the bag around, make sure we all eating. Heard some niggas think they got us, guess we all even.
Paris Hilton. You probably know the name, but the person behind the name, maybe not so much. As Tracy Smith tells us, prepare to be surprised.
By now, you probably think you've seen everything from and about Paris Hilton. You know, the socialite who made a career out of being a dumb blonde. A reality TV star famous for being famous.
That's hot, that's hot, that's hot, that's hot.
A Barbie doll voice with nothing to say.
I don't know. What is Walmart?
That persona, she now says, was all an act.
It's like they sell wall stuff?
No.
What is it?
It's like
What do you think the difference is between that character that you created and the real Paris?
There's so many differences. Like, with the character, it's mostly kind of this blonde, bubbly, kind of Barbie airhead. And in real life, I'm the exact opposite. I'm not a dumb blonde, I'm just very good at pretending to be one.
You actually knew what Walmart was.
Yes, I know exactly what Walmart is.
So this is the family home?
Yes, this is my parents' home.
And these days, she's talking about a new film that describes a time in her life that she says was too painful to bring up until now.
I feel like my parents were scared and they didn't want their reputations to be ruined.
I wonder if some people are going to say, with all that's going on in the world, do you worry that people are going to say, oh, come on, with everything that's happening, should I really care about Paris Hilton?
I think when people see the film, they're going to see a completely different side, and they're going to see I am a human and I do have feelings, and they're going to understand me a lot more. I know there's so much more to me than what they thought.
Paris Hilton, heiress to the storied Hilton Hotel legacy, was born to wealthy but working parents, Richard and Kathy. She says they were strict, no makeup or dates allowed. But as a teen, Paris had a wild streak. So wild that back in the 90s, Mom and Dad sent her to a series of behavior modification schools.
How did your parents get to the point where they thought that that was the answer? What were you doing?
I wasn't really doing anything. I just moved from LA to New York, and that's when my life completely changed. And basically I was just sneaking out, going to clubs and not going to school and ditching class. And that's when my parents thought it was time for me to go away.
So in 1998, then 17-year-old Paris wound up at the Provo Canyon School in Utah, a place for treatment of young people with mental and behavioral challenges.
There's no getting out of there.
But in her film, This is Paris, she describes the place as more of a prison camp with solitary confinement and physical abuse.
So they made an example of you. And they would choke you?
No.
And hit you?
Yes.
And
It's so weird to think now because I buried this for so long with my emotions. So now to think about it, what happened, it's so weird for me to even be like, how is this really real?
We reached out to Provo Canyon. In a statement, they said, in part, that Provo Canyon School was sold by its previous ownership in August 2000, and they therefore cannot comment on the operations or patient experience prior to this time, and also that they do not condone or promote any form of abuse. Paris says she never told her family about her experience there, but suffered nightmares for years afterward.
She would say things to me after, like, I still have nightmares. I still in the middle of my night, I feel, she would say that. And I always take what people say with a grain of salt. Like, I think, yeah, it did bother her, but it was it was our way of saving you.
Why not tell them when you got out?
When I got out, I was just so grateful and so happy to be free that I just didn't even want to bring it up. I was like, I'd rather, just never talk about this, just don't think about it. And from the moment I stepped out of that building is when I decided I'm never telling this story to anyone ever.
You thought you'd never tell it?
No. And I didn't think they would believe me because even hearing myself talk about it, it sounds impossible to believe.
After she left the school, Paris Hilton says she tried her best to forget it. She was a fixture at every high-profile event, and she got famous for all the wrong reasons, like a 2003 sex tape scandal that made headlines.
The sex tape happened after the school.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a connection there?
That would never have happened if I hadn't went to that school.
You don't think the sex tape would have happened?
No.
Why not?
I just feel when I got out of that school, I was so lost, and then I ended up meeting the person who did that, and I never would have let someone like that in my life if I hadn't went through such experiences, and therefore I would never have put myself in that situation. But I just wanted love so bad. I didn't really know. I was so naive, and I trusted the wrong person. And that's something I'll regret for the rest of my life.
But despite what she's been through, or maybe because of it seems Paris is having the last laugh. She founded her own fashion and merchandise empire and is reportedly worth about $300 million, a fortune built on self-promotion.
You're like the patron saint of the selfie culture, really.
Yeah.
So do you feel pride or guilt about that?
A little bit of both.
Hello, Paris. How are you?
She's lived so much of her life on camera that people think they know her. But at 39, Paris Hilton says she finally knows herself.
You said you feel like you've been a kid for so long?
Mm-hmm.
In what sense? Explain that to me.
I've always been a kid at heart, and I never really wanted to grow up. I feel that's just how I was for so long, maybe because I didn't really get to have a childhood. But now I'm all grown up.
So we cannot underestimate the effect that trauma has on people. This young lady has been through a lot. And a lot depends on who we're talking about. People have dealt with worse or whatever, and then I think that she's dealt with enough, in my opinion. But there's always that person that wants to come through and want to top you out on trauma. Well, you ain't been through nothing, check this out. You ain't talking about nothing, check this out. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. At the end of the day, people act out as a result of trauma in different ways, and I can't knock her. It happened to work to her benefit and become a blessing to her pockets. Now that she's gotten older, she has the opportunity to rebrand. So what she did is basically she literally took lemons and made a lemonade, and I can't knock that. Who knows what the future will hold for Paris, and I'm sure now that that is out, she's going to have to go in a different direction, but I can assure you she's living fine. She's got some money on her. She's all right. I just think that was interesting. Everybody has their story, and they tell it when they're ready. Like she said, she had buried that so far down. And you do. Sometimes you just want to forget some things because some things are too painful to carry around, and then they manifest themselves in other ways. But she's talking about it now, and it's still, like I said, it blessed her with her pockets, and she was able to open a whole new world. She kind of paved the way for different things like the Kardashians. I know people cannot stand them, and you got people that love them. That's their hustle. I have no strong opinion. I don't dislike the Kardashians. Giving people all that energy, I really feel to the core of me, if you don't like something, don't support it. You don't have to bash people unless they are causing a real issue. And I know that's arguable too, because they've influenced more of the thotty culture. At least people believe that. And I'm sure they had a hand in it, but ultimately we're all responsible for ourselves. But we cannot deny the impact of influence. So this is a touchy situation there. But at the end of the day, if I don't like you, if I don't agree with what you're doing, I'm not going to follow it. I'm not going to waste brain power and emotional power breaking it and dissecting it and having an issue. No, I can't do that. So that was an interesting story. I felt that you guys would enjoy that. That's all I have to say on that. I want you to leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for checking back with me. And to keep up with me, again, you always want to refer to Rockyroadmedia.com. That's where all the info, updates, events, and content is at. There's merchandise there that you can purchase. If you'd like to advertise with our podcast, please do. Our podcast will be airing this Saturday, the 12th at 4 o'clock. We will be having Tarot Vibrations as a guest. She will be doing a tarot reading. It will be a collective reading, kind of like she does on Wednesdays on Instagram when we go live at 8 o'clock. So you want to check that out. Thank you guys for your love and support. I'm going to catch you next time. Bye.